Miggity mic check 1 2 1 2. I am comedian James Mane. Thank you for joining me. The Hawaii Comedy with James Mane podcast. I appreciate all of you. Yeah, maybe I should watch how I say that. I didn't say I like all of you. I appreciate all of you. How about that? That's good, right? I appreciate you. I may not like you, but I appreciate you. That sounds stuck up. I'm such a jerk. But welcome to the podcast. Let me do what I normally do, which is go ahead and check to see and share my videos. Make sure that it goes out to all the places that I pay for it to go out to while I check my text messaging. Unprofessional of me. Okay, I don't see it here, but I guess it usually takes a... There it is. There it is. Okay, cool. Now I share it. Boom. There you go. And I share it to this other group. Boom, boom. I got to find a way to do this without having to interrupt the show. But in a way, I guess it's okay because I edit this out. Because I wait till people jump in the podcast. Let's see. Boom. There we go. Now that it's shared to where it needs to be shared, we can begin the show. There it is. Cool. So, let's see. Busy day today. Earlier today, I had Paul Ogata in the podcast. Had to make exceptions because he lives in the mainland, so his time is different. Also, he tours and travels, so had to catch him while he was at home. So we were lucky to have him earlier today, and still keep the schedule with going live on Mondays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Hawaii time. The person that I had scheduled is going to be on later. Let me do some bill paying here. Do like to point out this beautiful shirt. This is actually fun, and I wore this one. I haven't worn this one on the podcast yet. I wore this one because of my guest, because of the word. He is a local comedian, but this is very fun, and it's the kind of person, the personality of the person that I'm bringing on the podcast today. It's very fun, but this is a Oahu Golf Apparel shirt. The reason I like it is because it's comfortable, it's stretchy, so it's flexible, and it's cool, and it's made for people my size. I'm a 6X. They go all the way up to 6X. How about that? Most shirts only go up to 3X. Some only 1X. How about that? They just said, James, you will never have one of our shirts. But this, Oahu Golf Apparel, thank you so much. You can check them out at oahugolfapparel.com. They have hats, t-shirts, golf accessories, and they're locally produced here in Honolulu, Hawaii. They offer fun, stylish activewear for on or off the golf course. You don't have to play golf to wear this. You can wear this to work. It's got a collar. It's nice. Make Oahu Golf Apparel a part of your game. Also want to give a shout out to Pancakes and Waffles. I go there to eat. I'm a breakfast guy. I love breakfast. Pancakes and Waffles, Hawaii.com. They have 2 locations, one in City Square Shopping Plaza in Kalihi, and one in Waimalu Shopping Plaza here in Aiea. Also, shout out to Comedy U Hawaii, who's putting on a lot of shows. In fact, after this podcast, I am heading over to Taqueria in Kapolei to do comedy with Comedy U and Jose Dynamite and friends. Go ahead, check out their website, comedyuhi.com, and find out where all their shows are at. They have a ton of shows. They offer a lot of stage time to a lot of up-and-coming comedians. So even if you want to try it out, go to one of their open mics. They also offer stage time for people like me who are trying to work on new material. So it's going to be a lot of fun tonight at Taqueria in Kapolei. Give comedyuhi.com a visit and see where you want to meet up with them and check out some of the shows. Man, we got a lot of sponsors tonight, and I appreciate all of you. One more, let me mention, is Noms, which I had on a Valentine's Day episode with my daughter Tyler Reese. Noms Island Style Candies. They're doing a promo or next week. You'll be able to go and get some free. I shouldn't say free stuff, but samples, I guess. First, follow Hawaii Candy Factory on Instagram. That's Hawaii Candy Factory on Instagram. Saturday the 19th, they're going to be at UFC Gym from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. UFC Gym Honolulu. You can get samples. You can even get discounted prices for these amazing candies. All right. From on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12, they're also going to be at Tanioka's. From 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., they're going to be at Coco Marina Center's 808 Crafts and Gift Fair, Hawaii. From 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., they'll also be at Mahana Marketplace. So Saturday is a good time for you to go and check out these guys. Go ahead and try some of these candies, which I love. Sunday, the 20th, you can check them out. Wait, that's this week, right? Yeah. Okay, I said next week. No, this week. So this coming Saturday, go check them out. Then this Sunday, the 20th, at Lokahi Kailua Market from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you want to, I ran through that pretty quickly, but if you guys go ahead and follow Noms Candy at Hawaii Candy Factory on Instagram, you can see their latest post where they have the schedule, and then they, you can taste it. You can get a discounted price, and you can come back and tell me if you like it or not. I mean, shoot, I like it. So I don't know I'm usually a chocolate eating person. This is not chocolate. This is like fruit snacks, this bag over here has nerds in it. So very local style. I love it. You will enjoy it. Man, I think it's time to get the show started. I'm all, what are they? Verklempt? Yeah, a little bit. All right, let's get the show started.
Live from the middle of the Pacific Ocean, it's Hawaii Comedy. With your host, James Money.
Island days, clear blue water, and mountain ranges and dancing daughters. I can't get enough of these island days. Won't you take me back to Honolulu? Yeah, that surf is high and I am too. Sing songs all night long. I live in these island days. Oh, they told me not to fall in love, but I just could not help myself. Oh, I missed my flight again. I was sleeping here with my new friend. Oh, yeah. Island days, clear blue water, and mountain ranges and beautiful daughters. Yeah, I can't get enough of these island days.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much, Tavana, for the beautiful music. Go check his website out, tavana808.com. He's doing a lot of shows. You can catch him. Amazing artist. It's very unique as far as for musicians here in Hawaii. He has his own sound. I mean, shoot, live is even more amazing. And he's dabbled in stand-up comedy. Eventually I'll get him when he's not so busy on his podcast. But Yeah, check it out. Noms. I just opened this bag of straws. This is jumbo straws. So it looks like it has Lihing Mui and stuff on it. I didn't adjust my light. This is good. I think my goal for this podcast is change it from Hawaii comedy to Hawaii food. Hawaii food podcast with comedians. I mean, Jerry Seinfeld goes and gets coffee with them. Andy Bumatai used to drive around with them. Maybe that's a thing. Those of you out there, know that a podcast. I mean, the pandemic is starting to chill out. Hawaii foods with comedians. Boom. Speaking of comedians, I'm sorry, I shouldn't introduce him. I'm still chewing on gummy straws. But this guy coming up, I would say I know him for a long time, but we're not like tight friends. That we never spent a lot of time together. But I remember when he first came onto the scene, I think he was like 12 years old or something. But he was one of the new comics, and one of the few comics that started out when, I want to say it was in high school. I like the way his brain works is that it's not the same as everybody. That's not an insult. Trust me. And that's where the comedy is. When you don't think inside the box, you don't think the same as everybody else. So he's a very unique person, funny guy, family guy. Well, not family guy is in the cartoon, but he's the dad now. So it's just different from when I first met him. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Reese K Paul. What's up, man?
Ooh, hey, what's up? Hi. All right.
Look at that.
This a little bit.
Are you too tall for your camera?
No, I look like a deer in headlights. Wait. Sorry. Thank you very much for the beautiful introduction. Could I reach through the screen and get some of those noms, please? They look fantastic.
You wish, right? I mean, I wish I could share it with you, but unfortunately, you got to get your own. So Saturday, go get some. But here they are. It's like Lihing Mui and stuff in there. It's really tasty. It's like having gummy bears with Lihing Mui, but these are really good. So Kirsty Pete, all the way from Germany, saying good morning.
What up, Pete?
What's it? Good. Was it not? Wait. Guten
Tag.
Guten Morgen.
Schadenfreude.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, but noms for breakfast. For us, it's noms for dinner. At Hawaii Candy Factory, check them out. Oh, Guten Morgen. Thank you, Pete. Guten Morgen. So we learned something. Usually when I'm watching Reese Instagram, you don't do it so much anymore, but it's so funny because you're always posting something from Korean newspaper or magazine.
Oh, that was fun.
And I was like, wait, what's this? I thought he was just a white guy. Nothing wrong with being just a white guy, but so you do have some Korean in you.
Yeah, I'm a quarter Korean, and
okay.
My mom is like from here. She was born in Seoul, Korea, and then she came over here, and my dad popped over with the Marines, and then he dropped anchor, so to speak. Stuck around.
If you didn't make that face, then I think you would have got away with it. But
I mean, I had a bit about it. I'm not really doing it anymore, but I'm his dishonorable discharge. I don't know how wild we can get on the stream.
Oh no, you can say whatever you want. Facebook and YouTube, they edit for us. So
oh, nice.
We found out while going live. Had the guys with issues on, and Russell kept saying shit.
Oh,
and then
so there's a bunch of bleeps right there.
Yeah, well, they not blurred it out, but they
hide it like the silent one that they do.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So you can say whatever you want.
That's cool.
It's all good. It'll be on the audio version that I dropped tomorrow. So
Tight.
okay, going back to your Reese Paul here, and I talked to Paul Ogata earlier today. I was mentioning how he was from Pro City. Sean Felipe is from Pro City. I live in Pro City, so we got that circle of comics. Then there's Daryl Bonilla, Tumo Tuine, Andy Bumatai, the Y&I comedians, and then Sparkles brought it up. Kala Hill, him, Jonah Ray,
Yeah.
and yourself. You're from Kailua as well, right?
Yes. I mean, I lived in the spot where I should have gone to Kalahale, but I went to Kailua for the band. So, Cape Town stand up.
So there you go. You get to be on your city's
Yeah.
comic.
It's
Mount
funny. I saw
Everest.
Sparkles 3 times today because my job takes me. Our jobs both take us through like the main road. So he'll wave at me and I'll wave at him, and then so I saw him twice, unprecedented. And then I went to go visit. My brother just had a baby, so I went to go say hi to her for the first time, and I saw Sparkles driving on up there, and I gave him a honk.
Man,
Threw him a bird.
So it's funny because Monday, and I'm going through the names. I didn't realize I had two Pauls on the podcast today,
Yeah.
and then it clicked, and my daughter texted me just before it came on live, and I was like, oh wait a minute, you're Reese. My daughter's name is Tyler Reese. I was like, man, it's just I'm stuck in this universe of Reese and Paul.
Yeah, I think
So it only fits.
A good career move for me is to like lie about being related to the Paul brothers, and just see how far I can get. Just absolutely blatantly lying. I'd be better off claiming that I'm Chris Paul's brother, like cousin or something.
Then you got to either have insurance or you got to be able to cross over or something, crossover dribble. But
yeah,
I was mentioning earlier that
crossover. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I mentioned earlier that you started doing comedy when I met you. This was, and I had Michael C. Hall on yesterday, and we were talking about the good old days, and you were part of that. You came in. Were you in high school when you first started, when you met us?
No, that was the summer after high school, and I was catching the bus down to where you guys were doing your thing, and you guys were the first live stand-up I'd seen. I mean, I was about to say, obviously, every person trying to do this has watched and thought about doing it for so long, but you meet people and they just somehow fall into it sometimes. But I'd wanted to do it for a long time, and then I came out, saw you guys, first live show I ever saw, hit the open mics, a couple open mics, and then my parents got tired of picking me up after the buses stopped running on the other side of the pulley. So I went and, had a little bit of a life. And then I remember this because one day my wife and I were looking at my first son, who was 2 years old at the time. And she was like, so you want to do this? I mean, it's out there what I do, kind of. I'm like a mailman. But she's like, you want to be a mailman for the rest of your life? Nothing against mailmen. It's a lovely profession. Still doing it. Still that light blue life. But she was like, what would you want? Like, what's your dream to do with your life? And I was like, oh yeah, stand-up comedy, but that's stupid. And I've been doing it now for like 4 or 5 years, and it's still a little stupid to be doing it, but it's fun. It's really fun, and I love doing it. And thank you for having me on. I don't think I said that yet.
Oh, no problem. I mean, that's it's funny because I'm in a similar situation where my sister is supportive and is, telling me go for it, and that's awesome for you to have and it seems like it doesn't have to. Well, for you it's your wife. For me it's my sister, but it's us having a supportive woman who allows you to chase your dreams. And like when you're on stage, it shows that you love what you're doing, whether you get like the superstardom or not. And it's the same with me. I think I would still be doing this if I was to jump into. So my background would be I won't go back driving in the bus, but like in IT, if I go back to IT, whatever help desk or whatever's, I think comedy or performing would still be there, where we would still pop up at the comedy use events, and that would be enough for us to get through our life, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a part of it too that where it's like, it's such a easy thing to quit. Like, have you accidentally like realized you haven't done it in a long time, and you're like,
Oh,
oh, this I
many
think about it all the
times.
time, but it's been like 3 weeks since I've seen you guys hitting mics, which is awesome. Right now my wife's in school, so we're both supporting each other with the kids and work and all that. So I only really get to come out 2 days a week, and that has to like include if I'm going somewhere to record a podcast or a book show over mic usually. But honestly, I should start hitting mics again. You saw me last Tuesday.
Yep, yep, yep. Well, that's part of it though, is that getting
Yeah.
up, and because I talked about it in previous episodes, where I will go and bomb on purpose. I'm not saying you bomb, but it's just that struggle is what makes you better. And then the night I saw you, it was a tough room, you know, that night, because it wasn't that many people. They had another show going on where a lot of people went to, and our show, our showcase or kind of open mic light, you know, didn't have as many people. So,
I still
I
try
found
to
it where,
try to treat it like it's a real thing. And I've heard like Ari Shafir talk about this, about like when the Comedy Store wasn't that big. If you don't have a lot of people, like you learn to be conversational. So I was trying to like bring people into bits and stuff. And I did a lot of stuff about my wife, who was there with her sisters the first time they came out to see comedy. They'd wanted to for a long time. So that was like not something to get past or awkward or anything, because they know that I do it. But it was it was kind of like trying to bring them into what it was.
yeah. And then so for me, when I started out, it was always, oh, I don't want to perform in front of my loved ones. I don't want to perform in front of family. I don't want to perform in front of friends. And it's because something inside you is like, I don't want to do bad, and then I'm gonna have to hear it from them. And it's just something that I guess we go through, barriers that we set up for ourselves, and then we finally. So it's good that you had that moment. I wish it was, maybe a better night, I guess, for promotion where it was more people. It's just we're starting to compete with other shows again, where
That's a great problem to have for the scene.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So when is the next time you're getting up? Do you know, or?
I'm not sure what to call it, but there is like a introducing sort of. I don't know if they're actually partnered or not, but I'm hosting the open mic at Anna O'Brien's on the 23rd, and
Cool.
that's going to be everyone who's flying down for the festival, which should be a good time for everybody.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm boycotting the
so-
festival. I'm just kidding. I could give 3 days, so I didn't apply.
Oh, you have to
Yeah.
commit to, yeah. That's the one thing about those events where you have to be able to commit. And I get it, because and I coach football on the side, and it's a year-round thing. The coaches have some of our kids up in Vegas right now competing in Pylon, which is a pass league, and some of the linemen are working out. I can't commit to it because trying to get this podcast going, and then also perform. So I actually perform here, Taqueria tonight,
Nice.
Tex 808 tomorrow, and Manifest on Saturday. So
Ooh,
it's
nice.
So it's about
Plus,
it's about getting
this like
as much as
every
you can.
day. You're James Prolific.
Well,
You're big time.
it's one of those.
That's nice. Let's see.
It's one of those. What happened was, I started to look around. I was like, man, my sister's paying for everything. I need to get my ass together and try to create something. And it's, you've seen my TikTok videos. I tried. It's like,
Yeah.
that didn't work.
You see me try it sometimes.
Yeah. And so it's like
Yeah.
I can't do that. So what can I do? And I remember, I podcast with the guys with issues for
Yeah.
on and off for like 7 years, and so it's like maybe I'll do that. And speaking of, you also have a podcast.
I have
You're so
Way Out There Pod at Way Out There Pod. It's in my bio, and then we also have an Instagram page for that. It's with DJ Zell, who's a local DJ that people might know. And he also was a poet in the scene for a little bit. Really cool guy. Coworkers, don't tell anybody. But and then we just added a third mic at Sup Nico. Nico, very funny comedian. Where I'm hitching myself to him. Hopefully, he can carry us somewhere bigger. He's also got his own solo podcast, which is very funny, which is Proper Time. And then I used to have a project with Shannon Canton and Michael Madsen Jr. Called the 30-Second Podcast, and we actually just recorded an episode this morning because they're on different time zones up there. They were very funny local comedians. Now they're in different scenes, and since we have time differences, I can wake up an hour before work. We're really trying to approach it this time as a way of showing off because we always riff together funny. And we're trying to condense it down into 30 seconds, which is obviously very difficult. But Shannon came up with a very funny tagline, which was like every podcast is kind of these opinions that waste your time. We're just going to waste the least of it. So,
there you go. There's your pitch then. So we don't waste as much time as 99%.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Oh.
I'm saying you don't waste, a lot of time. So you guys are on top as far as, but you guys probably get like 100%, listenership. They listen to the whole episode.
You accidentally consumed the whole thing. That's right. Like checking
and then Google keeps pushing it up. It's like, oh, they're watching 100% of this, so we got to push this up.
Well, I mean, hopefully. I just created a page for that moments before, because we recorded the episode this morning. I still got to edit it, put it out. I cooked some food for my brother's meal train, so I brought him over some beef curry, and then booked it back over the pulley to make this, which was nice. And then,
thank
am I
you.
doxing my brother and I? No, but yeah. So that should be fun. People. It's funny because when you do certain projects like this one, a lot of people come out of the woodworks when you stop doing it. So don't stop doing it. People are enjoying it. I know when I drive around in that mail truck, I always pop it on when you guys go live.
Thanks. Yeah, the idea of doing live never hit me until this year. It was something that the guys with issues and I had talked about, but when you have and you know from experience, when you have three people trying to meet together and schedule a certain time, it's not that easy. I mean, even with just two people, which is why I ended up going solo, because it was like, it's cause there's actually the lost episode of Bra No Way podcast with Tumua Tuine and James Mane.
Yeah.
Those
are the Dead Sea Scrolls of local comedy. Those are...
it'll come up. Watch this, because I still get notifications when somebody likes the fan page, and I'm like, we haven't done anything there for a long time, and even YouTube. And it's because of Tumua's fame. So when they search Tumua, and that comes up, and we just couldn't get together at the same time, because he wanted to do it. He likes to do it in studio. With the pandemic, it's tough. So this, with this whole Zoom meeting way is the way to go, and it also helps me connect with mainland comics. So
nice,
and for you as well with Shannon and Madsen,
definitely. It was definitely a different vibe when I brought this up to my wife instead of not that she would be upset about anything, but being like, okay, so we're gonna promise on Thursday night I have a show. I'm driving an hour there. I'm going to be there for like 2 hours because I'm not on immediately. And then it's an hour drive back, and I might hit, it's very different than just sitting down at the computer and like, bam, popping it out. So it's very nice.
Yeah. So going into your stand-up comedy style, And I was mentioning in the introduction where it's I don't, people take it as a negative. I don't. When I say somebody has their thought process, they're kind of an oddball. I actually like oddballs. I think if we all thought the same, it would be boring. That's why people, I think, like stand-up comics that are different, because I never thought of that. That's inspiring. So some of the things that you say, and I'm like, what? But
Yeah, I mean, you saw me
it's
do
funny.
baby noises for like 30 seconds for no reason.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't even know where that came from.
Which takes balls. I mean, I did. I was talking about it earlier in previous episodes, where I went up and didn't talk on stage which was probably a minute, but felt like 2 minutes. And for us on stage in the crowd, that's a long time. And it was just to try new things. And I think that's what I give you credit for. And that's why aside from you also having a podcast, is why I wanted to have you on, is that out of everybody in our scene, you're unique. As far as your thought process and the way you do things. Even when we were talking after a show, where we were talking about parenting, because you have kids, and my daughter's already grown up, and it's funny because when as you would say, or people would say, it's progressive parenting, where you do it differently from most people. I think some people will I guess not necessarily frown at, but they cringe or something, like, oh, you're raising your kids that way, or which basically, I mean, if you don't mind me saying, it's where you try to take the negativity out and not use negative words like the word no or something like that, but actually try to teach them a different way.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. I didn't do that because I was brought up a certain way, and I only knew how to do this. I wasn't brought up that way, and I respect that. It's like, hey, that's takes balls again, because everybody around you in Hawaii, will probably just beat their kids. Where you take a different approach, and total respect, man.
Yeah, I mean, I got the belt, and I mean, we spent a lot of time with my Korean grandma, so she'd have like a back scratcher that could reach, like like it was like a intercontinental missile with that. She'd be able to hit you without you even noticing if you were chewing with your mouth open, like at the time, and
Wow.
sitting on the floor at a dining room table. There's no way to go. There's no under the table to hide at. But no, yeah, and then it's like, not to say that like I just rolled over, but it's like I trust my wife inherently, because she's like very into raising children, and all of it is intuitive. It's like, not that you wouldn't think of it, but like recently, like the 2-year-old was freaking out about a toy not being allowed to come into the bath, and instead of being like, no, because we said so, you're not allowed to like give it to me right now, and tearing it out of his hands, we just said, listen, it's the Rex toy from Toy Story. We're like, he's got batteries. He's going to break if you bring him in the bath. Pick a different toy. And like a 2-year-old kid was just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I won't So sometimes it just takes a calm explanation instead of like a quick smack in the face. But I mean, to each their own. Please don't hit your kids. I don't know. I don't know what to pick in this.
No, that's totally awesome, and it makes total sense. And it also teaches your child that thought process, like, oh yeah, so if I did bring this in, and it was it thought consequences, or if I brought this in, this will happen. Yeah, that doesn't make sense, because I want to play with this and not broken. And I think that's great. I think it'll make intelligent kids, or adults, when they grow up, is they think before they do something stupid. It's like, oh, if I touch that, it's hot, it'll burn my hand. Where some kids will just go, oh man, that's hot. Samoan style, which is similar to Korean style, which is you just smack them, is you don't do this because I said so. Which I learned as my daughter became a teenager that she's not doing it because she's afraid of me. It's not because she's not doing something because it's the right thing to, like
Yeah.
making the right decision. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so it was around
Definitely.
intermediate to high school where it was like, yeah, I shouldn't be spanking her or hitting her anymore. I shouldn't be. Sometimes it comes out. I'm pretty sure she'll see this and be like, "You crazy."
Don't
Sometimes
get
it
me
comes
wrong.
out.
It seems so much fun to hit your kids. Sometimes it
Yeah.
it seems like the best option possible. Like when you ask them not to do something and they're staring at you and they got that crayon up against the wall and they drag it one last time just to see. I can't imagine how fun it would be to put them through the wall. But taking a breath and showing them that being frustrated can be like, it took a little while. I'm not sure how my kids are going to turn out. I shook them a lot. Just by it. But no, yeah. It's very difficult. I'll say that, especially coming from like a smack keeps like it's like bumper cars. I mean bumpers on like a bowling thing. Like if you're going too far in a direction you're not allowed to be, you're going to get hit and kind of severe that way. Versus just learning how to throw the ball correctly straight down. I don't know. I'm not great at metaphors. So I'm doing my best here.
No, but it's so like from what I learned was that allowing them to process the information and then come out with it helps with their decision making. So when my daughter, her first semester as a freshman in college, and we will talk about certain things, and I'm not going to put all her business out there, but certain things that she said she didn't like or she wasn't going to do, and she's sticking to it.
Yeah.
And it's because of this, because like she didn't want to jeopardize her scholarship. She doesn't want to jeopardize getting kicked off the team. So there's a lot of things that she parents herself, just by making the right decision. And I told her, I was like, man, that's you're an adult.
I can't imagine how scary it was for her to go and how good it must feel to know that she's out there making logical decisions and like hearing her thought process as like an adult already because you were able to communicate effectively with her.
Oh, I think you're going to see that sooner in your, as far as your kids being, you're going to see that as they're in intermediate high school. I mean, of course, teens, do what teens do.
Mm-hmm.
But your kids probably will have processed more and make better decisions, or they know what the better choice is early. My daughter made mistakes in high school, but then college, she, when she's saying what she's saying, it seems like she's learned from those mistakes in high school, and it helped me to become a better parent as far as the relationship, the parent-child relationship. And I see that with you and your videos when you post with your kids, is that you guys are buddies, you guys are best friends. And now that I've raised a kid, that's way more important, that they have that relationship with the parent, as they're not afraid of the parent. I was afraid of my parents. My mom, she's 78. I'm still kind of afraid of her at sometimes. It's like,
Yeah.
You won't really have that, and that's a good thing for developing children. And even in sports, a lot of parents think shove it down their throat and force them to do this will make them a better athlete, but it's not.
I'm going to force my kid to be a stand-up. I'm going to force my dreams on him. He's terrible.
Well, I've seen some of the videos.
No, he's very funny. He's very into, because my wife is very, very funny as well, but she just doesn't need the acclaim from other people that maybe the hitting instilled in me. But, it's very cool to see how quickly he picks up on what funny is. And I think we were watching something last night that had a variation on the chicken crossing the road theme. And then he was like, oh, they're doing like a take on that bit. And I was like, damn, look at you. Like, why do you know the nomenclature? Like,
That's
what's
so
wrong
funny
with your
because it's the
father?
same. My daughter picked up on sarcasm really early.
Mhm.
Where a lot of kids wouldn't understand, and I had to, as a comedian, I had to coach her down. It's like, okay, so you know how you and Daddy talk when we're watching TV or movies,
Yeah.
or you can't do that with your friends because they don't get it.
Can't be in a movie theater with your friends yelling, "Yeah, right."
Yeah.
The twist.
There is no way that man can walk on the wall like that. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that's going to happen with you and your kids, and it's going to be awesome because out of all her sports accomplishments and academic accomplishments, some of my most favorite things is when she says something that makes me laugh. It's like when we're watching something and she's so like critical and sarcastic about like, let's say a Hawaii commercial. So
Mhm.
any local commercial, and she says something, and I'm like, yeah, before I was able to see it, and then she, as when comedians get together, we get caddies, and then we just start roasting whatever we're watching, and she does it, and I'm like, that's my kid, that right there, that's my kid. I love her.
Nice.
So,
That's awesome.
yeah, you're gonna have that because I've seen the videos where, and even where you had your kid doing stand up, was it in front of the camera or something? It's like, where he was talking, was it?
We don't post his visage. That's a weird way to put it. I'm gonna change something about this real quick. Is that better? Closer to the other Paul, and I'm not as shiny. I look like Wayne Newton. But
No, but wait, but now your headphones looks like you have your hair is like Darth Vader or something.
what were we just talking about?
You're the Jack of Spades now.
I got the Princess Leia dues.
So we're talking about your son, and yeah, I don't see too many of the videos out anymore.
It's a very because you wouldn't think about it, but they're not old enough to consent to their image being placed online. So it's kind of, I mean, when you see like comedians like Bert Kreischer, not Steve Byrne, but like, father type parents, like a Steve Trevino maybe, of like doing bits with their kids and like posting them all over the place. And like, we don't know what the future is going to look like, like what if my kid he's got a very embarrassing video stuck in the metaverse and he's got to like, go through all these legal things to get it scrubbed from the internet. Like, things are moving so quickly. And I mean, to what we were talking about earlier, I was trying to write a bit about it, so maybe you folks will see this live. But the type of guy who's like, I was hit when I was a kid and I'm fine. I went outside, I played all day. I stepped on rusty nails. I drank out of the hose. And I didn't get rat lungworm, and like, but being that type of guy, but for unfettered access to the internet, of like, I watch disgusting things. I want, like, I've seen horrors the likes of which you'd never think of, and that formed me as an adult. Like, I don't want my kids seeing, I don't know, Mr. Hands or like, gore or like efucks.com. I don't want him to accidentally stumble on stuff like that. I think that definitely informed who I am as a person, and in a bad way, in a terrible bad way. And it's fine for him to live in a world that's nerfed. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well, and like you say, where he can't consent, and then I agree with that 100%. So I have friends that they don't post or any pictures of their children as toddlers, and like, what is 5 years old? That's not a toddler anymore.
I think
But
Matt Bronger's got a cool thing he does. I think his kid's name is Rose, or that might just be her name for his post. But they put the rose emoji over her face all the time, which is a very cool way of posting that they're doing cool stuff and like fatherly stuff. That guy's really funny.
Yeah. And then I have another friend that has a private account, and where you have only a certain amount of friends can see it.
Yeah.
So they also have that. So yeah,
it's a great way of keeping your family updated on what your kid's up to. Definitely.
Yeah, without putting them all the way out there. So
yeah,
I definitely get it. For me, it's my daughter's age. I guess there was pictures. There wasn't too many videos. There was no TikTok at the time, and when she was a little one, or
Yeah.
I think it didn't come out till she was like graduating from high school already. So there is stuff out there, but you think about it, like who has access to those images, or whatever weirdo could be looking at something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
So
my
like when
kid's
I'm on,
hot
when I'm
as
on,
hell. He shouldn't be anywhere on the internet. My kid's
he's got
banging.
abs.
Yeah, dude.
He's got abs.
He looks like that little Hercules from TLC. He look that guy who got creatine in his breast milk.
And look what happened to that kid. I think he's
Yeah.
probably still doing the same thing, but as an adult now, and nobody pays
Yeah,
attention
yeah.
to him anymore.
Yeah,
Everybody's
You
like,
know
"Oh, he's
how hard it
grown
is
up."
to feel-
Boo.
yeah. Difficult to find breast
that's-
milk with creatine in it.
So that's messed up because it was like, man, he was so good as a kid. Now as an adult, he sucks. Let's stop watching.
And now he's
The
buying
pedophiles
Bitcoin
fell out of
to-
love.
To
He's
get
mining Bitcoin.
Black milk, black market milk.
I need it. Come on, man, I'll suck your. I
Yeah.
got that.
Breast
I got
milk,
that.
you made
I got
my
that good
day.
creatine. This is good. So, as far as your comedy process, like, do you sit down? Like some people sit down, spend time in front of a notebook or laptop, or some people, like myself, I don't really do that. I just go around, people watch, and not in a
Yeah.
creepy way, but live your life and experience things, and then something sparks a thought, and then, ooh, let me put that down. What is your process as far as getting new material?
Well, my best stuff has always come from that, but I like to think of it as like, I forget who said this, but like the folding of the sword is like, I'll do this material up until I'm absolutely sick of it, which I can't know for sure whether that happens quicker in the mainland or here, but I feel like everyone's heard this thing before. And when I listened to your episode with Tamua, that was a really important point that changed, because I did a lot of old material rehashed when you saw me on Tuesday, because you guys were like, what are you guys trying to impress the comedians in the back? You're going to waste your entire lives like performing for the fellas in the back who couldn't care less either way, like I'll do variations on my jokes that like only they would get, and it's like it's useless. It's hard to remember because you want to do stuff that you think is funny, because I love trying words that I think are funny in that order and then slowly adjusting them to be palatable. You know what I mean? Like I used to do a bit about, I feel like we could hold down and molest the president. I feel like it'd be pretty easy. Like, like that used to be like a big deal of like wrestling presidents, but right now I really feel so pumped that I could hold them down and just do whatever I wanted with them. And, it changed to tickling instead of any, are we going to be deplatformed for this? I'm very sorry.
No, not at all.
The tickling
That's
the president. But you know what I mean? Like, it's a very difficult thing to remember.
The word molesting, because it's attached to something negative,
Yes.
but it's also a funnier word than tickling, in my opinion. You're talking about the president.
I think what I landed on is kissing him on the forehead against his will, which is a little funnier if you say it distinctly, if you staccato it enough. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, the question was from you to me was the process right now, and right now it's just thinking constantly and picturing myself up there, what I could say that would be funny. And you know how you get into these like daydreams of like forever of being like, and then you land on something funny and then you're like, wait, how did I get there? I know though that I would love to say that sentence and that would be so funny. How do I get there quickly enough that it makes sense? And and then like writing that down in like a little notes app on my phone. And then what I really should be doing, that the best sets have ever come from, is writing that down onto a page. And then the next week, reorganizing it, rememorizing it. Because I'd like to think that if a joke is funny enough, I would be able to memorize it and not forget it. But sometimes jokes are funny. They stop being funny to you, but they're still fresh to so many other people because they're not sitting there running through your set in your brain constantly, like again and again and again. Like, what am I want to say and what do I want to say? And I think I've gotten stuck in a trap recently as well of I love Rory Scovel. I love Todd Glass. I love loose, seemingly improvised. And I love watching their old sets coming up to now where the material is a 3-line joke, setup, punch, tag. But they encapsulate it in crowd work. They encapsulate it in a silly voice. They encapsulate it with a prop. Like Roy Scovel, you can see him do the same joke like tens of times over like his late nights, over his specials, but you don't realize it's the same joke because last time it took him 10 seconds to tell it. This time it's taken him almost 20 minutes and it's been funny the entire time. And you can tell that he said the setup, he said the punchline, and now he's riffing through a bunch of tags. So, hopefully I can get there at some point, but just working on it.
I think with from my experience, it's being able to get as much stage time as you can to get to that point. So it's something where like I have a joke written out a certain way, and this hit me recently on my headlining set February 2nd, just a couple weeks ago, where I've been opening for a lot of headliners and I've been doing a lot of showcases where you're doing 15, 20 minutes, maybe sometimes 10. And you do those bits over and over and over, and you pretty much memorized it, after like the fourth or fifth time doing it. And then you fast forward a couple years, it's almost like autopilot where you can just do the joke and not really think about it. When I got to do the headlining set, it took like a 10-minute bit with for me it was the airplane and Portland whitewater rafting and it became a 20-minute chunk because I started to improv things, go off on tangents and add things on the fly, like you're saying with Rory Scovel, where I can always go right back to where I put that bookmark in. So I'm doing the bit, I get here and I go off and I go right back and then I go off again. So I, doing more stage time, I think that's what, helps with being able to do that Rory Scovel, where you can improv something that you've mastered and add. And I think your improv, there's things that, from what I see, is that like when you said the word, when you were talking about molesting the president, I think you pulled back because you don't want to say what you really thought. Like, because as far as like comics go, we always, when we have an idea of something, we think of the darkest, and then we think of the brightest, and then we kind of like, this is too dark. This is too dark.
Yeah.
I'd say, when you go to an open mic or even one of the showcases that, that there's no talent scout in there, and try that really dark thought. And as you're doing that dark thought, or saying that dark thought, watch the reaction of the audience. And that'll tell you how far back to come back, because I remember Indigo, this is 6 years ago, where I talked about a subject. I talked about a subject that most comics won't touch. It didn't really work, but I saw. No, it's actually.
Sorry, no, I don't. You don't have to specify.
It was about rape. It was about rape, and it was just to see how far the line is, and there was some people laughing. But not enough for me, and it was just, I knew there was nobody recording. I knew this, and that's what we do, where we go to open mics and we work out stuff. I think you'd be surprised because when I talk about it, it comes out a certain way because of the way I look and my size. When you talk about it, or even if, let's say somebody who's tiny, like and looks, there's no threat, they might be able to get away with it.
Clarice does really
So
well with that, I think. If someone
exactly,
wanted to see someone
exactly.
going very dark, but from a very like innocent angle. I listened to the WTF pod today with Roy Wood Jr. and he's got a theory that like since he's got like a round face and I have a round face, a very round face, and even after my set, Long Locks, very funny comic, they have a big show coming up. Him and a couple of other people. Ooh, I'm gonna dig a hole here. But no, he came up on stage and he was like, has anyone ever seen any dimples as deep as Reese's dimples? And that's something I would never, ever consider when I'm on stage, is that I'm an adult 30-year-old with dimples and I'm a big baby. And I got this round face. And so what he was saying was that his theory is that he can't jump into being angry. He's got to really justify being angry. He can't be like a Carlin or like a Bill Hicks. He can't come up and be like, you know what I'm sick of? But he's got to be like, like presenting and like getting people on his side about why to be mad about it. He can't come out and be like, I'm upset, I'm pissed off about this. He can't go up there. And I mean, to conform to like redouble his theory, like look at Sebastian Maniscalco. He's like a falcon up there. Like he's very like big movements, sharp, angular face, very like immediately expressive as well. And like I feel like I'm trying to like not, I'm trying to shave more often before I go on stage, try not wear glasses or hats or anything, because, and I heard this from Bart Kreischer, who, when I first came back out, I saw you open for him. That was the first time I had come back out since quitting, and I saw him do it live, and I was like, damn, I remember, I want to do this. And then, so that was awesome. But he's talked about before, like, he's trying to get the least amount of things between the expressions on his face and what they mean to the audience. And also, I guess a shirt doesn't help with that. So it's very interesting, all the theories and stuff. And I have my own theory, which is dumb. I'd like to preface it with that. But local people, like people my age, Adult Swim came out. And when I'd visit my family on the East Coast, Adult Swim wasn't till like a Family Guy didn't come on until like midnight, 3 a.m. sometimes. But here, Family Guy comes on while you're eating dinner, and then the real crazy stuff starts. Like before your bedtime, you're watching like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, things that like to go back to that unfettered access to the internet theory of like. There's like a very strong sense of irony here that is somewhere here because like Tom Segura's show shows out how do we present our thing to that, because all of my stuff is necessarily positive, you know what I mean, like obviously Tamua deserves to be where he's at, and he's very happy. When you leave a Tamua show, you're very happy that you were there and you're blissed out and joyful on life. And I don't think that's just what my voice is. My voice is something more like, damn, isn't the world insane? At least we can laugh for a little bit, but at the end of this, it's still going to be wild out there, and we all got to go back out to it. Like that's kind of what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to get rid of all of my old lame material that I don't like. So I'm going to try to be building a different 5, 10, 15-minute set from here on out, repurpose some of the old stuff. But yeah, it's a beautiful American art form. I'm glad that we do it. And I'm glad that you had me on, because you're doing it at a level miles ahead, which is very cool that you had me on. And not that much. Not that much. It's just I've been doing it longer, and I think when you do it, so it's the same thing with the podcast. So people are asking me, why are you doing so many episodes right away? And it's something I learned with podcasting, where when you have a large catalog, people might find you at episode 50 and then go through it. That's how I consume it. That's definitely So I'm a big podcast guy.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, I need to get more episodes Sorry, I'm chasing my dogs out here. Get out of here. Get
in
more.
app. Sorry.
No. I was like, get more episodes out there so that I get more downloads and more views for myself and for my guests and for the sponsors. You were going to say?
In Apple Podcasts, you can go to settings if you've already subscribed to a podcast, and you can go from oldest to newest instead of newest to oldest, and then you can listen to podcasts in the order that they came out, in case anyone is here on one of the episodes in the middle, and now you've realized you can go ahead from the beginning.
And then eventually find Reese K Paul's episode. So what I was going to say was, when I see you perform, it looks like you're holding back the devil, because the way you think, like you say, where you don't want to perform for the comics, you want to, of course, if you want to have a successful career, you got to have a large fan base. I think there's fans for everybody. So like when I open for Tumua a lot, and Tumua, his act outs is, I tell him, that's your strength. You're it's very Sebastian Maniscalco, and funny that's his favorite comedian, and I said, I see it. Your facial expressions, your body language, it's even the way you tell. But I think when we start out, we all have, for me it was Chappelle, and the way I wrote and told jokes, it was very Chappelle like and kind of hip hop. And then I started to see other comics and say, oh, I like that. I like this. Ryan Stout, who I had on earlier, when I saw him, I just like, my mind exploded. Where if you haven't, go check out Ryan Stout. He will talk about something that people cringe at, and then he'll turn it on them, and it'll be so clever that it's so cringy, but it's funny. And he said, but you're laughing at it. How dare you? So people who are judging it, it turns it on them. And that's where my baby smelling joke came about. It was
that's so funny. I thought about that today, holding the baby for the first time. I held my knee. I was thinking it'd be so funny to show up in a bunch of number one uncle gear and have my kids deal with that. Having a dad whose entire identity is being an uncle. But no, it was I smelled the baby for the first time, and I was like, we're gonna pass her around.
Anybody else? But it's and going back to what you're talking about with Tumua, where you feel good is, and I've told him a few times, backstage, like you're, when he started to headline, and I was there with him, and I was like, certain jokes, it was like, you shouldn't do that, because you got to remember your image. You're a good guy. Your people like you. Yeah. And when you start punching down or you're reaching for the lowest fruit, then that comes across like, wow, like if Superman was to go and beat up kids, it's like, what's happening? Why is he doing that? Yeah. So I tell him, I was like, just be the good guy. You'll be fine. I'm not saying I should get credit for it. But look, see. What's up, guys? I like the Turtle Beaches headset, Reese.
Thanks. It's fresh out the box because I was worried he wouldn't hear me.
So see, Timo's watching, and we're talking about him, and then so like when I look at Timo and I'm thinking, like it's like Superman. Mm-hmm. Everything good about him. It's the guy that everybody wants to be, and I was thinking about, who am I? Yeah. So when I headline, I was like, "Oh,
I'm Batman."
No, it's not even Batman. I was like, I'm the anti-hero, because the kind of jokes I like, it's not family friendly. It's not, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's you have to find your path. Yeah. And the same with you when I was saying that. Sometimes when I watch it, it's like I know there's more in there, but then you look at the crowd and you kind of hold back.
Yeah, I mean, I used to just go full on. Like, I used to have a bit about, seeing a guy have intercourse with a horse until he died. and I really went into like what it must have been like, you don't do that that's not like it takes two to tango, like like you gotta have a couple buddies adjusting the horse, you know what I mean? Like it's a gang activity, and
somebody has to hold the reins.
Yeah, the handkerchiefs are red, but it's they were white at some point, and and then like I get guys, like guys afterwards being like, listen, man, I know no one fucking laughed at that, but I thought that shit was really funny. Keep at it. And then it's just like, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to go around necessarily being the guy who's approached by the guy who knows where to find mushrooms after a show. And that being like, if I take, maybe if you're going around the mainland doing, because Mitch Hedberg always had this thing of like, if I had a show and 10% of people like me, and every year I'm going in front of like 100,000 people, that's quick math. But that's either 10,000, 1,000, or 100 fans. But like it's just about making what I find funny digestible. Like I was laughing really hard about one of my friends looks exactly like his girlfriend, and someone asked him if they were related, and they said, yeah, we're cousins. And then they started kissing, which is pretty funny. But I've been laughing so hard at this idea of them saying, yeah, we're from the South, and then looking at each other knowingly and saying, South Dakota. It just doesn't make any sense, but it makes me laugh so hard that someone would say something completely earnestly to a stranger that makes zero sense. And that is never going to be funny to another person. But that's my private little Idaho that I get to play around in. And I don't know, man. It's so weird when I'm in that hot mail truck and I've been roasting all day, some of the best bits come out of there. And then I write it down on paper, and you're looking at it like a week later, just like, what the hell could, like wet wall opposite of drywall. Like, what the hell am I going to do with this? And then, you figure something out.
Well, that's part of the genius of doing what we do is that we look at something and we're like, how do I make that funny? And that's, part of the puzzle. And how do you make it presentable for the kind of crowd that you want to attract? And that's a great point where, so like with Tumua's audience, like I have to adjust. Well, one, I'm opening for Tumua. I have to, my job is to, or for anybody I open for, is to get the crowd ready for the headline.
Only doing polite stuff to the president, like nothing.
Yeah. No hands on the lower spine. No caressing.
Cover hands on every girl in the story.
But yeah,
no sandwiches. So that's the Guys with Issues callback. That's a long.
Hey-o.
I used to listen back in the day. I used to throw you guys on.
But yeah, so it's understanding what it is that you want, and what your job is.
Yeah.
So if you want mass audience, you got to appeal to the masses. And it's funny because people think that Tumua does clean because he wants the audience. No, Tumua does clean because it's how Tumua talks. Tumua doesn't. I mean, I think the worst thing I've heard him say was shit, but that was in a joke that he was trying.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when he tried it, he just ran right like shit, like real. He didn't go shit. He was like shit, he kind of just ran right over it.
Yeah.
And that was funny. And it's funny to see the other comics go, did Tumua just swear? So he doesn't swear because that's how he talks. The way Tumua on stage is Tumua every day. And it just so happens to work for a lot of people. And that's, for somebody like yourself, where, like we were saying, if you go all the way to that point of the darkness or whatever's, and you get that guy, hey, I thought that was funny, buddy. Then but there are a lot of people like that, and that
guy
have
can't come out
that
to
audience.
the next show because he's got to serve a warrant. Like, I mean, I'm not necessarily filling crowds with scumbags. That'd be, I mean, if there's people on the
A
island
whole room?
who want to see a dirty show, oh, you guys, oh, so funny because speaking of the market that happens in Kailua on Saturday, Noms is going to be there, and if you guys look across the street, live music from the Collective Tattoo and Cafe, beautiful place. Used to run shows there. I mean, hopefully we can get it off the ground now. I know that the owner is a very cool dude who listens sometimes, and it was a beautiful spot. They're doing a lot now, and because of the whole pandemic, they had to kind of adjust what they were up to. And you know, I'm sure that they would be down to have an outside show, but as far as I've seen, shows without walls are hate speech writ large. It's like sometimes you see someone say something crazy, but speaking of saying crazy things, you were on a 420 show that I booked there. You just happened to be there. Not that either of us participate in any of that. We're trying to steal money from these dumb stoners, right? But it was on 419, which, first of all, huge mistake already to have a 420 show on 419. And we didn't advertise it as like a 420 show. It happened to be all male because the females in the Hawaii scene at the time were running their own shows on that same night. So, you know, I tried to book pretty, I try to care when I'm booking. You happen to have a joke about the rafting joke has something about penises in mouths. Every single comic on that set that night had a joke about swallowing semen. And I didn't notice as I was booking that everyone would be doing that. But even someone who came in to do 5 minutes, quick, small set, main point is that he swallowed his own semen. And it was like a posh crowd out in Kailua. They got so many reviews.
Wait. Hold on.
Not you.
That wasn't me.
You didn't have that. I hosted. I did 30 seconds up top, and I was like, "Hey, you guys ever notice when you're swallowing?" No, it made me realize that like you really got to pay attention to stuff like this, and it was a very important lesson to learn, and it was a beautiful night. Other than the hilarious Yelp reviews that I'm sure that they didn't appreciate as a business. Because to say you're a cafe and one of the reviews saying that I went there at like 10 o'clock at night, people are saying disgusting things is not what you want on your page. But they're a beautiful, lovely page. If you're going out to that show, to that market, hit them up, get some ink under your skin, ball out.
They're really awesome. The owners and the people that work there, really friendly. They're
spot.
And they love the jokes. They love the comedy. It just, you didn't plan it. I guess 420 is the weed smokers comedy show, but 419, the cork soakers comedy show.
Like, but hanging out outside, dipping in a while. People put down their charcuterie.
Just a tip. Let me put my my head in just a little bit and peek and see what's going on in here.
Yeah. Whoa. Take it easy.
Oh, too much. Like, wait. But just like vampire rules, before you enter, you must ask for permission, because if you do not ask for permission, then it's unwanted entrance, and we wouldn't want to promote any unwanted entrance. Either the front or the back door.
Yeah. Especially not on the president.
Or through the window up top. Definitely not. So, but they're really cool. They reached out to me recently and just to say hello.
Yeah, it's awesome what they're doing. And if anyone wants to run a clean show out of there, I mean, I never want to be the type of guy who is upset that a venue stopped using me and picked someone else. You know what I mean? I've got a lot going on. Please, if anyone wants to run a clean show out of there, just book me so that I can bomb being clean. Like, go ahead, run it. Go ahead. So funny.
Well, take the challenge.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure if you were there when Tumo let me open for him on his clean show, but I said I was ready, and I thought I was, and I lied, and I was going to community college at the time, and one of my classmates in speech class saw it. Ooh, never lived that down. That was very funny to go back to speech class and her to say, Tamua was very funny. Reese was not. A stranger. So, on the opposite side of the class. Betrayed.
Nobody asked you. Nobody asked you, Karen.
We know. We all know.
I said, well, you didn't even try, so how about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, but I mean, that's the thing. That's what
yeah.
we do. I mean, if it's almost like, Krusty Pete jumps in. He says, if you don't bomb, then you aren't growing, which is true.
Very true.
Krusty Pete says, time to hit the Audubon and go feed some hungry birds. Whoop, whoop. Love getting exposed to comics I've never seen. So.
Speaking of exposed, check me out on Instagram. I got some clips up there. I'm still doing those bits, but I'm trying to get rid of them.
But so Krusty Pete has been a fan since he was. We always mention on Guys with Issues our number one fan from Germany.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's Krusty Pete.
That's amazing.
So he's followed over to this podcast. He'll probably check your podcast out because he has these long drives on the Autobahn. And so it's super cool because I'm like, well, my voice is traveling super speed in Germany, and that's cool. So he'll probably start checking out your podcast. He's a fan of podcasts. Originally from Tampa Bay, Florida, but he now lives in Germany.
That makes a lot more sense. But
yeah, so what you got going on?
Still very cool. Oh no, we got a big spike from the middle of Virginia. I don't know who, don't know why, but if you're watching this, thank you very, very much. You're the homie. Whoever is telling their friends to listen from the middle of Virginia. I don't even know how to pronounce the town that you're in.
Virginia's a cool place. My sister lives in Northern Virginia.
Nice.
I love going there. That's cool. Maybe you might have to take the podcast on the road and go to your
and find out
fans over there
that it's a little server that mistyped. Someone left their PS2 on for too long and it went through the entirety.
There you go. That's how you do it. Tell people to do that. Say, just go click on this, let it play through.
Leave it on in the background.
While you're charging your phone. Yeah, while you're charging your phone, just let it run through. Yeah, that'd be great. So what you got coming up or future, like anything that you would like to get into as far as like performing more, having your own shows, or are you gonna actually get back into the promoter role again and start your own? That's the one thing I respected about you is that a lot of comics, they grumble about not getting stage time, but then from back when I started, it was start your own, create your own. So when you had the one in Kailua, I was like, hey, that's cool, and that's why when invited, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come down, help, and do what I can. So what going forward from today, aside from continuing podcasting, what's going on with Reese?
There's a podcast out there, and you brought up a very important point because it's a point of frustration for me sometimes when I listen to other comedians complain, and I complain along with them, that getting booked, not getting booked, it is what it is. But then when I look at their Instagrams and they're just, they're at the beach every single day while I'm at work, like they're just hanging out at bars, getting blackout drunk. It's like, literally today, I've been up since 5:00 in the morning, recording a podcast and then working and then cooking for my brother. And now we're doing this podcast. And it's like, there's only so many hours in the day. Try to do everything you can. I tried printing shirts for a little bit. They sucked, but it was fun to learn. I did my own late night show over Instagram for a little bit. It sucked, but someone at Domino's recognized me from it. That was fucking awesome. I did the 30-second podcast for a little bit. I'm trying to find out what it is. And it is sad that I'm 30, but you know what, man? There's a fucking long ass life ahead of me unless I keep eating the way I do. But I'm going to start doing push-ups. I bought a kettlebell, I'm gonna go full Bam Bam Baklava. I'm gonna, be presentable to other humans, and maybe that'll help. Maybe that's it for me. Maybe I'm angular face guy. But I'm working on the podcast with DJ Zala and Sup Nico. That's always so much fun. Those guys are very effortlessly funny. To quote Nick Mullen, and it's Black History Month, so he's a very funny comedian that I like and I follow. And he had this observation to say that I think is true about open mics, is that it's fun to go there and watch white guys struggle week after week to make things funny, and then a black guy comes in off the street and is effortlessly so much funnier than everyone in the room. And those two guys are effortlessly funny. Denzel doesn't believe he's funny, but he gets blackout drunk and goes to beaches, and is a very fun guy to hang out with, and good friend, used to be a roommate. And sorry if I'm rambling here, but please check out clips. I don't know if you get this, but the algorithm picks up my Instagram reels every once in a while, so it's nice to get little hearts from strangers with 0 posts, robots. But it is lovely to get those little red hearts. And if you guys want to start anywhere for the Reeseverse, you guys can start off on the Tamua episode of the Way Out There podcast, which I used up every favor from that guy, great guy, to get him to come out to a podcast. We squandered it because we were very nervous about the new eyes that might be on us. No new eyes. That's fine. That's not what it was supposed to be. It's supposed to be us carrying it, not solely putting our livelihood on him. But it's just about, it's very fun to be down here hundreds of miles away, way out there from everyone else, just doing our best. So that's all we can really do. And I think I said that hundreds of times during the Tuesday set that you saw me, that I was giving it my all and doing my best. And I believe that's what I'm doing day in and day out down here with kids, wife, job, stand-up comedy.
Boom. But that's what it is. It's just there's people that don't even try. So you're already heads and shoulders ahead of those people. Yeah. But go and this is something from the guys with issues. We don't podcast anymore, but we do talk every day. We have a thread. It's just the three of us, and we're always dropping. Yeah. So and it's nice because it's called Best Friends Forever. So that's what we titled, or Friends Forever. We titled the thread, and it was just go and make the mistake and then figure out how to do it a different way. Yeah. So it's pretty much that's it. And because you've had a number of podcasts, you had another podcast that you would do. You would record people live. I remember it was.
I was trying to
it
emulate
was a clever name.
Ari Shafir's Skeptic Tank, but it was the Reese Paul cast, and I was trying to take a snapshot of what the scene was at the time, and it just got a little too difficult. I wasn't getting, it takes a lot to, because me and Michael Madsen talk about this a lot, but there's this thing you got to hit sometimes that's I like to call it full delusion mode. You've got to go full delusion mode sometimes and be like, I'm funny, I'm worth putting out there, I am taking up space in people's lives and their feeds, and I am worth being there. It's like almost like a manifesting thing. You've got to go full, like, I'm out here, I'm doing everything I can. Follow me. I'm a single bell pinging at one tone. Conan O'Brien, I think, said that, is that in all the cacophony, if someone recognizes that bell that they've heard that whole time, they're going to start, approaching it, glomming onto it. If you're using your voice, you're doing your thing, people will recognize it, that you've been doing it for that long. So it's hard sometimes, but if you keep up this pace, I mean, from what you said about not having, not that you don't have stuff to do, obviously, but if you could hop on this and book people every day, I mean, people respect you. You've got a good following. This could really it's very cool that you're doing it daily. That's terrifying. And I know you just started doing that, and that's definitely going to be a hard pace to keep up. And I'm not sure how much of it is attached to, being a really good guy and helping out to promote the Hawaii Comedy Festival, which, check it out, you guys, Aloha Comedy Festival. But yeah, if you could keep up this pace, that would be fucking amazing.
Well, it's only every day this week, because next week I'm like, oh no, let's ease up. Let's go back to schedule. So next week, Monday is Brandy Morgan,
Nice.
and Thursday will be a morning one, because Gianmarco Cerezi is going to be the guest. But
oh, no way!
But he's touring.
He's
so
amazing.
Yeah. So he will be my guest. But I think I forget if it was 10 a.m. Hawaii time.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be out there for people to catch on YouTube, Facebook, or even the audio, because I edit the audio so it sounds more tight on Spotify, Google, and Apple.
So this will hopefully
most of my
be
listeners
30
are
seconds
on
long.
Apple. No, this is good. This is good, because it's funny. So Michael and myself, we have we feel like you're our kid, kind of. It's like. So Reese K Paul, but then again, we're not good parents, so that we never really kept in touch.
Lots of hitting back then.
But yeah. So with you, it's like
that in a current event setting, the KFC bit that I saw that fella do was ingrained in my memory for years.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Which he would love if he found when he listens to this, he's gonna love that.
I remember being a child,
but,
oh my god.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean, because you were, when we see you now, we're like, he sees you through social media, but when I see you now, I'm like, man, that kid has grown up. It's like, the kid that we met coming out, and it was, we were in our late 30s. And then here comes this kid, and we're like, man, props to that kid, because this is scary what we do. And it wasn't just you, but there was also Misha Han was young as well. There's another kid
right now.
Schwab,
Billy Sherman.
Billy Sherman. Well, I haven't seen where he's
I
literally
think he's
out there.
shamaning a group of people in northern Wisconsin. I think he might be the Liver King. I'm not entirely certain, but I'm pretty sure Billy Sherman is the Liver King.
But then there's also Jack Schwab, who was coming out. It was so funny, because his parents come out to the shows, and then he's talking about his penis, and I'm like, man, that's balls. I even got up at the beach house and even talked about right after he got off, and I was like, man, that's your parents over there, and you're talking about all this stuff. I'm in my 40s. I still wouldn't talk like that in front of my parents. It's like, it's crazy. But
I did crowd work on a group of kids that were there to see him, and they all went to the same prestigious college that he went to. I was like, what the heck is going on? Why are there a bunch of kids from Ovid? Yeah. Anyways, thank you very, very much. At Reese K Paul on Instagram. James Mane, I can't believe I've known of you for this long, and it's very, very cool.
Hey, thanks, man. It's really awesome to see you grow as not just as a comic, but also as a person. I mean, just seeing you as a high school kid, and then not seeing all of a sudden here you are with kids, and a responsible adult at that. It's like, hey, there are some good ones out there, and I can't wait to see. So when, like I said, if you try some of your dark stuff at events where there's not, if you're opening for Tumua, don't. But if you're at, try it, because sometimes when you uncage the beast, that's when you're like, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
And but of course, if you want to do it a certain way, that's up to you. Because I'm not trying to give you
It's
tell you
definitely
what
time
to do.
for
But
like a recentering of what the path is. So I was very happy to get a chance to talk with you about it, which is very cool because you were very insightful, and you saw a beautiful little moment of weakness where I asked you how to get it on the Blue Note, and you said, be funny for 5 minutes. And I was like, well, what if I just send them this 1 minute clip instead? And I'm not at the Blue Note, obviously. So it's good because sometimes I do have moments of mania where that full delusion takes over and the full delusion is wrong. So I'm very glad that you could set me straight on that path.
but then you
Beautiful.
learn from it, and then you learn from it,
Yeah.
and then you adjust. So,
Yeah.
and it was fun performing with you at Blue Note, which we did the showcase, and then
Yeah, that was fun.
talking with you in the back, and it was
Yeah.
like, wow, it's been a long time since I've hung out with or seen you out off stage,
Yeah.
and it's like, man, his thoughts, and if it wasn't for that chat and was it Blue Note, and you just came in and just started talking about something, I was like,
Yeah, I think I
nobody's
chased
even
the
talking
headliner
about
away
that.
about because my son the night before had peed in the fridge because he thought it was the toilet, and
And that's
my
the
wife
start.
and
That's why I was
yeah,
like, what?
yeah,
But it was just random. It was like we were talking about, let's say, oh yeah, the Bitcoin is whatever's, or the football game is this, and he was like, yeah, my son peed in the fridge, and they're like, what? But to me, those are the people I like because fuck this conversation you guys are having. Let me tell you what happened last night.
yeah.
and
All right,
and I
sorry, I
love
feel like I
it.
keep keeping
That's
you on.
no, but that's the reason I was like, yeah, I gotta get Reese on there because he's a unique mind, and I'm telling you, it'll pay off. Some Joe Coy didn't get famous for like 20 years or something.
Yeah.
It took a long time, and just keep plugging away at it.
I'm definitely going to
Everybody
use
has
his method of build up white, and then once you're there, hit him with the ethnicity. I'm going to be selling out Koreatowns across this nation.
Boom, there you go. Hey man, thank you so much for being part of
Thank
this
you very, very
podcast. I
much,
really
man.
appreciate you. Thank you to your family for letting you get away to do this for an hour and a half. Those of you that are paying attention, follow Reese K Paul on Instagram, and then find out where he's performing. See the madness happen, and then watch how he creates.
March
whatever
8th,
set
Slack Key
or-
Lounge is the next set date, I believe. So that should be a really fun night.
It's like, oh, cool. Oh, let me try to get jump in there, not bump, but let me just try to get in there and cool. I'll see you there, man. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really appreciate you, man.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, peace. And that was Reese K Paul, ladies and gentlemen. Awesome guy. But you met a nice person, right? And the way he talks to an intelligent guy. I love it because his comedy, it isn't church friendly. It's not like disgusting. It challenges you to think about stuff, and it's very unique in our scene, and that's one of the reasons I had to have him in the podcast because if I got everybody that was the same, it'd be a boring podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for paying attention to Hawaii Comedy with James Mane. I think I got food downstairs, so I'm gonna head out. Peace.